Hey folks, quick update before we get into the show. My mom has her mugs, and they're made. They're all, at least most of them are done. They're, I think, 15 of these in total that we're releasing. She's made 11 of them, so we're doing a pre-release release of the 11. And someone just picked up 2 of them, so that means there's 9 left at the point of releasing this podcast. And if you want yours, by the time you're watching this, they probably are less available than 9. So shoot me a message at coffeeandcarvingshow@gmail.com to get one. They're $35, about 4 inches tall by 3 inches wide from here to here, and they're super comfortable to hold on to. Look at the detail that she put into these. They're so cool, even on the handle, the trees. Anyway, all right guys, let's get into it with Nate. Episode 59 of Coffee and Carving Show. Today, we have the great Nate Elarton. Thank you for joining us, Nate.
Oh, man. It's awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we met, how many years ago now did we first meet? Was it like 10 years, 7, 8?
At least
6?
8. Yeah.
Yes, yep. Yeah. I remember when we met, I was going through a pretty rough time of life, and I mean, it was a good time of life, but I had some situations that were weighing heavy on me, and I remember talking to you about it. And then by the time, of course, that's what you do when somebody comes over, to carve with you, right? It's just spill the beans. And I left, you left, and I felt so much better about everything that was going on. So it's a testament to your skills, and that is part of your full-time job, right, as a pastor, is dealing with basket cases like me. So
no, that's
dealing.
It's usually just listening.
Yeah.
People talk to you and you just listen, because some people just don't listen, and they get done. You're like, "Thanks for helping me," and I'm like, "I just didn't even say anything. I just listened. That's good."
Yeah, it's all people need sometimes.
You left feeling better. I left a better carver. It worked out for both of us.
That's good. That's good to hear. I was thinking about first of all, I was listening to an interview that you did, and it reminded me of a conversation that we had years ago, saying that carving for you was a big stress reliever.
Oh, yeah.
Like you had a lot going on in your, the International Association of Woodcarvers did an interview of you, and I don't want to go over what they already went over, but you, you talked about how you were at a stressful period in time with the church, and it was growing quickly, and you just had a lot on your plate, and you needed to decompress, and then carving was a part of that. So I just thought it was that's an interesting thing to me, that carving was almost like a respite from your work. Why do you? I guess a question I have is, like, why do you think that was? Why do you think carving was helpful in that way?
Man, I don't know if I know why, but I know it was. I think because I was alone. Because the church I lead was growing. I was in over my head. I was younger. I had a lot of stress. I was handling a lot of debt. We just put up a building, they said if you build it, then they'll come, and they weren't coming. But the mortgage increased quite a bit, and there was just a lot going on in life then. Our kids were younger, and we had a lot going on. And after I visited my friend in Tennessee, and he had gotten into carving, I think Billy Reynolds gave him a lesson, and he gave me a chisel, and we went out to a shop, and they said, "Run this up." He had some red cedar, and I did, and I'm like, it was just such a satisfying feeling and sound and smell, and I just that was it. I just didn't get into it as much when the kids were smaller and they were so involved in school and wrestling and football and everything, but they're gone now, and they're married, and I have a lot of time, and they enjoy a lot of the arts and stuff, so it's cool. It was, I guess it's peace. It's being in my space out here, being in my own space. It's me and some good music, me and the Lord, me and a project.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It very much was therapeutic for me, and still is. It's some days when I feel a little on edge, I'm like, I got to take some time off and get out in the shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
It's huge, man. It's huge. And yeah, I feel the same way about, like, you know, if you have an extroverted life, carving is definitely a huge thing. Like, it feels great if you've kind of gotten a lot of people time for you to be able to balance it out with just a few hours of sitting in the shop and quiet, maybe some music playing, and that soothing sound, man. I was telling my dad today, I think that carving tools are like almost like I don't know, antenna or something, or like they like send out signals, and your hands are like antenna, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like there's like a signal that the wood transfers into the project, and that vibration hits your hand, and you almost it's a sensory, like, calming.
Hits your hand, goes right into your soul. Yeah.
Right in there. It's kind of true, though. There's something about it.
Jesus was a carpenter. That included wood carving and masonry and a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, it's good.
Yeah, it's in there. There's something about the act of carving that's different than drawing. It's different than painting. I mean, I love all those art forms, but carving specifically, outside of clay, outside of all of them, it's like there's I don't know, something about nature and being able to cut into it, like a purely organic. I guess clay is organic too, but something about, like, the tactile sensation of carving.
Just trying a little watercolor.
Really, yeah.
Things are running into each other, and I'm trying to follow a YouTube video, and me and my daughter are doing that at Christmas, you know, and I wasn't feeling the same peace. I was feeling some serious frustration. But I tried it. It was fun. Yeah. I might do some more.
Yeah. Well, there's something about painting that it's, you know, you have to, like, I guess you're like alluding to something that isn't there. You know, like you're trying to make something that's not there appear as though it's there. It's still not there. Whereas with sculpture, you're like decorating, what is the quote? It's like with music, you're decorating time. And then with sculpture, you're decorating space.
I like that.
And so with, like, painting, it's almost like, what are you decorating? Like, not, again, this isn't trashing painting. I honestly kind of wish I was a painter in some ways. But,
yeah, most artists are painters.
Right.
A lot of painters. Yeah.
It's true.
Incredible what they do.
I'm amazed by it, and in fact, it's like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, easier to sculpt in some ways for me, because it's like I can make the object that I'm showing you, whereas with painting, it's like I have to make it look three-dimensional. I have to do all this other stuff in addition to making the shape. So yeah, I don't understand it as well. Yeah. But
maybe it's decorating of the site. No, I guess you see it all.
No, but I mean, there's something there. It's more. It's like decorating the paper, I guess, or the canvas. Yeah. So you've been up to some shows, and you mentioned that before we got on that you're doing, like, art shows, but they're not in the same way that I would think of art shows. So you're not going to sell. It's like more of a display type situation. What is that? What is that like for you?
Yeah, so in Bedford here, we have we've had an art show every year. The Bedford, there's an art council here, and they put on a show, and I guess they had over 100 different pieces from this area, and they display them at the library. And you can put a price on them; they are for sale, but it's not like a selling show. They bring in a judge, and they call him something else. Okay. What do they call him?
Huh.
Somebody from the Toledo Museum of Art came down, and they judged the different mediums, mixed media, oil, watercolor, and pencil, and then sculpting.
Right.
Or ceramic, sculpting, wood carving.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, so I've done that a few times. So this year I took first, second, and honorable mention.
Nice.
But there were only 4 pieces in my category, so...
That does help you to hedge your bets, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I have done so many carving events like that where I found out that it was like in the intermediate category, face sculpture. It's like, well, there were two others, and you were, you were the one they picked. It's like, well, I'll take the win. I won't tell anyone.
Yeah. The one that I was surprised I had this green man. You've seen it. It's got the vines coming out of the mouth.
Oh, that one's cool. Yeah,
I figured that one would win. It didn't win.
Oh, no?
No, I carved...
which one was it?
That one took honorable mention, actually. But
really?
The one that won was a carving of a simple face, and it was after a good friend of mine died, and I came out in the shop and carved what I felt, and it's called Grief, and that's the one that won.
Wow.
Yeah. Fraction of the amount of time.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Isn't that interesting, though? Like, when you're carving something, and you really put your all into it, and you try really hard, it sometimes can pale in comparison to the days that you just come out and, I don't know, for whatever reason, the vibes are flowing and you just get it done and it's perfect. It's like, or at least a lot more like perfection than the thing you spent like years working on.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to enter it. My daughter, Abby's like, enter that one. That one will win. And I'm like, that one?
Wow.
He was right. She says you can feel that one.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was fun. And then I'm doing another art show, the River Raisin Art Show. And so it has to be something Michigan history. So I Googled some Michigan history. Even though I lived here my whole life almost. But River Raisin, and there was a big battle in 1812, and Chief Tecumseh was there, so I'm carving a Native American.
That's
I'm calling him Chief Tecumseh.
Yeah, that's dope.
Because there's no pictures of him from 1813.
Right. Yeah. So you kind of have to like make him up.
I'm just carving a chief that I know how to carve that you helped me learn how to carve, so I'm carving that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
That's Chief Tecumseh.
Well, I mean, think about all the characters in the Bible that people are always depicting.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know what...
Who knows?
They don't know what these people look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't do a great job with Jesus. I mean, they made him look like he was from Norway or something.
Yeah,
or
it's like Sweden. He's blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm like, I don't think that's a Middle Eastern person from Jerusalem, Jewish person. But
yeah, exactly.
You could try.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's something. That's another story. But it is funny to me. I remember when I was at an art show once, and I did this version of Jesus as a carving, and this old wood carver came up to me and said, you probably look more like Jesus than this thing does. It's just,
probably very true.
Thank you. I don't know what you're trying to say here, but either my carving sucks or I don't know what's happening. And he explained, like the history, and Jesus was probably, like you said, like a Middle Eastern guy, right?
Yep.
So it's interesting how we just sort of paint things the way that we want to see them. Or like whoever did that painting of him, we're all like, oh yeah, it's a very beautiful Jesus. He has beautiful hair, the eyes are nice. That's Jesus. Yes. It's like okay,
right.
But anyway. So these shows, are they something that you have an upcoming show, you said as well, right? It's something happening in the near future?
Yeah, the River Raisin Art Show, where I'll, I'll enter in that one if I can finish it. Yeah. Taking time with those feathers and, trying to...
Okay, that is the... Okay, so the Tecumseh is for the upcoming show. Okay, got it. Okay, I'm a good listener. The
Battle of Thames.
Is this the historical event that you're looking into? Yeah. Okay, cool.
So that's...
I should know, but I don't know.
Well, I had to Google it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where they got my email or whatever, but they're trying to invite more than just painting.
Right. Right.
Some sculptures and ceramics and things like that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, I had a similar call the other month from a local event coordinator who had this cow-based show, like it was called Fresh Pasture, and I guess they had some people coming from like Prairie Farms or Country Farm. I can't remember the dairy company, but they were coming down and they wanted to pick up some art, and so they were kind of excited. They sponsored the event, and I just couldn't think of anything that I wanted to carve. But they said, like, it was a last minute invite, and they said, we realize that we don't have any sculpture. All we have is painting.
Right.
So we kind of need you. So I did something in ceramic, which was really fun. Ceramic was a unique challenge, but it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it.
Like, did you fire it after that and glaze it?
Yeah.
Okay, my daughter's a potter. She does ceramics, and she got a kiln fixed and stuff, and she glazed. I got a cool mug for Christmas, and that's pretty fascinating. I'm like, I could probably do that. She centered something for me. I'm on the potter's wheel, man. That was very unenjoyable for me. I could not get that thing centered.
Really?
It's hard.
I've heard that is really hard. I've never actually done that.
Skill in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son does that too.
Really?
Yeah. So you made it by hand then, and then you glazed it, fired it?
Yeah, I just fired it. So we bought my mom a kiln for her birthday.
Because she's doing mugs and stuff.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So we which, speaking of which, I don't have it with me, but the mug, if you check out the last episode,
I did.
Is
she has a wheel?
Yeah. Yeah, she has a wheel. Thrown? She's making them. I know.
Wow.
I'm scared. You got coffee with you today, by the way? I do. Very good. Very good.
I might have battery problems on. There we go.
Oh, yeah, if you need to find a charger, you're good. I'll do a little ad or something.
Yeah, so, I do have coffee. Maybe I better plug in my charger. I think my cord will reach you. Just a sec.
Feel free. Yeah, so speaking of which, our coffee sponsors are no one. We have no coffee sponsors, so that's okay. We thank you guys for the support anyway, for watching, for liking, and don't expect the coffees, but do appreciate them. That's in the link below, and you can support the show by buying me a coffee, and I appreciate it. So, anyway,
my coffee
got his charger?
is though. I'm not young like you. I'm sporting a decaf.
No, I'm half calf here.
Really?
I'm quarter calf right here. Yeah, yeah.
My wife for her birthday took some of her little birthday money. She bought an espresso.
Oh,
so I threw in,
those are nice.
They are. I couldn't believe it. And so I got a decaf pod, and I was extremely happy. It's the best decaf I've ever had. First time I've had it.
Really?
From an espresso. Usually decaf I hate,
thanks for doing it.
Don't drink decaf.
Yeah.
But I'm drinking that.
No, I was so sad because I got one of these fancy for my wedding gift. My parents got me this machine that I've been wanting, this espresso machine, fancy, like automatic, expensive machine. And I went to my sister-in-law's house, and she made me an espresso pod that she had just gotten for Christmas, and I liked hers better. Way better. It was so good. The coffee was amazing.
Yeah.
So those Nespresso, I mean, not that we're sponsored by Nespresso, but they're good.
Well, they should sponsor us now.
Yeah, for real, dude. What are they? Send us a check. We'll put our addresses.
I ain't drinking any of that Keurig.
Yeah, that stuff does suck.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's not as good.
Nope.
I mean, it's not as good. Yeah, if you're out there and you're sporting a Keurig, do yourself a favor and get the Nespresso. It's better.
Yeah, stop Keurig or stop carving. One of the two.
Yep. That's our message. That's our message. We're the gatekeepers of the carving coffee world.
Right. Good.
Yeah. So another thing we talked about when we were catching up before the show is that you're hosting a spoon carving event.
Yeah. We're pretty excited about that. So I have a little wood carving group. We get together and meet in somebody's shop, and we always are trying to, convert new carvers. But I think they're a little intimidated at some of the stuff we do. And so I started messing around. I did some spoons, and I find them very difficult to do, believe it or not. And so that face carving seminar that you did for us, remember that a few years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Sonny Beach came down. He was there.
Right. I remember.
Did he give you a spoon?
I remember him. I don't know if he gave me a spoon. I should remember.
He gave me a spoon.
I don't know if he did. He probably gave you a spoon.
He gave me a spoon.
He didn't know me from Adam.
Oh, you were, that's why he drove from Dexter down to Temperance. But him and I have been in contact. We bumped into each other at the Dexter-Bedford football game. which Dexter won. And we've been talking about doing it. I said, let's do it. We got like 17, 18 guys coming, and like 8 or 9 of them are brand new carvers.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of carvers.
I told them to buy that little beaver craft set with the hook knife and the mark knife.
Dude.
We're going to do some carving Saturday. We got some chili coming, and it's going to be good.
What I just picked up, speaking of talking shop, dude.
That's huge.
I remember talking with a buddy about beavercraft, and we both wrote it off, thinking it was like Chinese stuff. No, this is good stuff. This is like
beavercraft's made in Ukraine.
Yeah, it's really good, reasonably priced. It's a good.
So
stuff.
I bought my son a set, and then we messed with it, and I could not believe how good it is. Yeah, I got an expensive hook knife, and his beavercraft is every bit and more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I've been shocked about as far as tools. I mean, talking about tools for a second, like, I have some really nice knives, like hand-built, custom-done, American-made knives that are really fancy and they're very sharp. But I bought, and this is my experience, I know people have messaged me saying they got flex cuts that aren't as good. I mean, I sanded the logo off, but this flex cut is every bit as good as those in terms of the ability to hold an edge. It's sharpness out the box coming right from the company. I mean, it is just. I used to hate flex cut.
Yeah,
and I don't use a bunch of their gouges or anything, but they're little. This is just called a skewed detail knife. Is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I still have my first little flex cut knife I got.
Do you?
Yeah, I think I bought it when we were at Marty's house in Tennessee. I bought it halfway between Tennessee and Michigan. I found someplace and bought a knife because I knew I was going to carve.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That you knew it. Did you meet Billy Reynolds, or he was taking lessons from Billy Reynolds?
He took lessons from Billy Reynolds, and then he taught me. So he took a few lessons from Billy. Yeah.
Billy's a great carver.
Fantastic carver.
Yeah. I like seeing his work. I was actually just looking at his stuff before we got on, and just crazy what he's just so.
Somebody messaged me and asked me if I took lessons from Billy Reynolds because of my eyes, but Marty took lessons from Billy and I took lessons from Marty. But I guess the eyes are a little similar. I wish I could do them as good as Billy.
Yeah, he does a great job. He does a great job. His eyes are very sharp.
Yeah,
they're very sharp and clean.
Yeah,
I like the fact that he's doing so many things in large scale. Like, he seems to be doing a lot of chainsaw and a lot of big stuff, and that's really cool.
He does them big now, and then he details them like they're small, so they are the best of both worlds, man.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, that eagle half. Did you see that one in his shop? Half eagle, half owl.
No, I didn't see that one.
It's beautiful. I think it's in dark walnut, black walnut.
Yeah, walnut's beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful
half eagle, half owl. I love it.
That sounds wild. I can't even picture how that would work.
Yeah.
I have to pull that up. Was it on his website?
I saw it down at the shop live in Gatlinburg.
Owl,
Pigeon Forge,
and
or
eagle.
Somewhere over that is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not pulling it up, but I'll have to look for it and maybe post it in the...
I don't feel like his website's up to date. I know his Instagram page isn't.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll have to pull it up and throw it on there.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's an owl and an Indian. Native American.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Right here.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's wild. Yeah, that is cool. Who are some people who have inspired you? And you mentioned Marty. You mentioned Billy Reynolds. Who are some folks who you see their work and influences you? Or maybe just some artists in general that you like. It doesn't have to be carvers.
Well, obviously, you're at the top of the list. I mean, really, I look at everything you do, and I know it's a connection because of our friendship, but also, I've had, 3 or 4 private lessons with you. I don't think you do that anymore, do you?
Not really. Occasionally. Usually do like a full,
Vic Hood, I just think everything he does is crazy. I just really like his stuff.
Yeah. He's a master.
I was going to go to his thing in Pennsylvania in March or May. I called him and he picked up his cell phone. We chatted and but I can't go. I was really disappointed.
That is a bummer.
Maybe someday I can carve with Vic.
Yeah.
I know you carved and shot some lessons with him.
Yep. We had big plans for making an online subscription school. And so I went down and I filmed a couple of my childhood heroes. Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't end up the school never took off. We couldn't get enough people to join. People kept saying oh, that's a great idea, but we would love to see we'd love to see what it looks like when you start it. And it's like, well, we can't really start it if we don't have people that want to jump in. Right. So it was just an issue of getting people motivated because they wanted to make their own content and they wanted to sell their own instructional content, So, which I understand. So we didn't push it, but we worked hard on it for a few months and almost a year. And but out of that, I got some really great lessons with Ferris and Vic Hood and got to meet them and just to see their process. They're starting off with a chainsaw in most cases with their larger stuff. Really, really approximate rough in. Maybe they cut a few things in here and there, like a beard, like a head, a hat line with the chainsaw, and then they go in with the hand tools and they do the rest of this crazy kind of detailed work. And they have all these tricks. I find you can tell they've been doing it for years because they have these little twists of the tool, just to make leather texture, or they'll just be able to articulate the tool in such a way to remove a ton of material, to blow off big chunks of wood. And this is just stuff that you don't learn from a book, It's like you learn it from trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff Ferris, man, his books. I think I have every book he's written. Yeah. And then Ian Norbury.
He's awesome. Yep.
His book on expressions, I think. I have it right here. That just, to me, this book is gold.
Oh, I don't have that one. That's cool.
Yeah, this is just expressions. I know you and I had talked about how expressions are so different than just the straight-ahead catatonic type look that had life and movement and flow and and then his stuff online, it's really crazy stuff. Yeah.
That guy's next level.
Yeah. Have you met him?
Ian, no. Ian came into to the States for a couple of lessons. I think he was in Ohio. Then he was in, where was he? He was somewhere in North Dakota. I think he was in Bemidji or something. Might be saying the name of that town wrong, but yeah, I missed him in both cases. I wasn't even aware he was around. I heard about it years after the fact. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I always wanted to meet him. He was a super dude.
Yeah, because you've met a lot of the famous people carving.
Yeah, I've gotten to meet a lot of them. Definitely not all of them, but I've definitely got to meet. There's so many, right? But some of my heroes, I got to meet Ron. I really tried hard to meet Ron Adamson. He was kind of a main hero, and we drove all the way. We drove most of the way across the whole country to see Ron Adamson. Whatever that was, 30 hours.
Oh my gosh!
Driving. And what a genius! What a G too! What a cool guy!
Yeah.
And he's just he carves right on it. That a guy who patterns his life the way that he does is a smart dude. He has a giant deck off the back of a beautiful, one of the most beautiful rivers in the world, the Kootenai River, and mountains, giant mountains with trees, and that's where he works every day. He just goes out there and he pounded on, as long as weather permits. Right. Otherwise, he goes in his garage. But he's out there just making stuff in wood all day. It's I
messaged him once and said, "Man, I would like to carve with you sometime." He's like, "Well, the coffee's always on." I almost got in my truck and just shirked all my responsibilities. Show up in the middle of the night. I'm here.
It would have been fun. He would have been happy to have you too. He's a nice dude. But he's done some of the most photographed sculptures in the country. So the funny people think of him as a wood carver, but if you check out his work, he's really known for his bronzing.
Yeah.
And built his own foundry, and that's something that I've kind of been like researching a little bit, just kind of like Googling and trying to figure out where do you get a foundry? Like, who has a foundry? In their yard. Right. I'd love to do that one day.
You know who probably isn't a mentor in carving, but who's inspiring his carving as we've watched him, and you know him, is Brian Melton. That guy is just, every time I'm just like, what in the world? Like, he's been carving, 3 weeks? And he's doing full busts now?
I think.
Male and female. I mean, he inspires me. Like, I got to get out there in that shop, man.
Dude, I feel the same way whenever I talk to him. When I first met him or first heard of him, I saw his. I don't know how I heard about his Instagram. I think he was doing Lord of the Rings characters. You know what? It was International Association of Woodcarvers again. They were doing. He was talking while he was carving on this Samwise Gamgee or whatever Gamgee, and I was just thinking, that's a valiant effort. It's a pretty nice carving, and it was massive. Like, I admired the fact that he was working on it, and but he was doing pretty good. And then a few months later, I saw his work. Maybe a year or two later, I'm like, is this the same guy?
He just went.
This is crazy. He actually came to the shop for a lesson. Is how I kind of got to know him a little better. And he was just trying to figure stuff out. But he was the most excited student I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, the guy is like, it's like coffee. He is coffee. He's like pure caffeine or something. I don't know where the energy comes from. It's like, he was like, we took a quick break, and he was like, man, these trees, you'd have a much better view, because I live on a big hill, and there's a lake down below. He's like, man, you could see that lake if you cut these trees down. I'm like, that's a cool idea. And then before you know it, he's like, you got a saw? He was down there. He climbed all the way down this hill with a chainsaw, pulling the chainsaw, cutting all these trees down. He gave me a great view, but I was like, I hope I like this.
I hope the association, if you have one there, allows that.
Yeah,
or you're going to prison.
They do. I know. Yeah, they take my house away, dude.
Yeah,
I left to go to the bathroom. I came back. He had his shirt draped over he had off of his body, draped over his head onto my computer. I had no idea what he was doing. I thought the guy had lost his mind. And he comes out from his little cocoon, and he's like, look, I traced this carving out on the screen on a piece of paper, so now I have a model. Just like, who is this guy?
Well, I've enjoyed watching him.
And he
get better and improve, man. Shout out to Brian Melton.
Yeah. No, he's amazing.
What is his Instagram? Rough Cut Craft.
Rough Cut. Yeah. Yep. And there's a fake one out there too, so make sure it's the real one. There's somebody hacked into his account or something months ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he's back at it. And he's kicking butt. I mean, he went down to study with Bruno, who's one of my personal heroes. Bruno Wolpath is an amazing woodcarver. But something back to what we were talking about earlier. You mentioned that you've had so many people interested in the spoon carving class, and you mentioned that you think people get intimidated by the kind of stuff that we do, like the faces and the. Why do you think people get freaked out by that, or do you think they're just not as interested in it, or is the spoon a more practical thing? I've been trying to figure out what it is.
Well, I guess they look at it and they would be like, I wouldn't know where to start. And like I've taught a few people, and like one guy drove up from Jackson. I said, he said, I can't carve faces. And I go, you really can in 3 hours. You can do it. It's, the proportions and the thirds. And I says, and how to start and rough it out and set it up. And in 3 hours of me carving beside him, he really could get it. And of course, you got to get skill and feel the tools better. And there's all that kind of improvement. Right. But I guess to people that have never carved, might look daunting, overwhelming. Like, where would you even start? Right. Or they say stuff like, well, you're so talented. Actually, no, you learn the steps. I didn't just wake up and start carving a face. Yeah, you know, the lessons and books and YouTube videos and Faces in the Fire and but the spoon being a single, almost, and spoon carvers might not like this, one-dimensional type. No, I know it's in the round, and it's harder than it looks. But I think people are like, oh, I think I could carve a spoon.
Yep. Right. In their head, it's like it's a simpler.
And I think
project.
once they do it, and if they're successful, I think they'll. I think they'll try something else.
It's true. You got to start them on something that's reasonable, and then they get some confidence. My dad was in the shop today carving up a spoon, and he's not done with it yet. Otherwise, I'd show it off. But anyway, he's talk about woodworker. I mean, he's making guitars in his shop.
Wow.
And he's super talented at craftsmanship. But he was just in here carving on a spoon, and just he couldn't leave. He said he had to leave late for some meeting or something with his buddies, and he's like, I can't stop. This is so much fun.
It is. You get in the zone and start feeling it. Yep. It's hard to stop. Time can fly in the shop.
Yeah.
I got questions for you. Is that good?
Okay.
Am I allowed to do that? It's your show.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything. I mean, it's our show now.
So you put out content, and you probably get paid for some of that content, like Instagram does, and all that. How do you stay focused? I was thinking of this the other day, that I'm thinking of content more than I'm thinking of carving, and it really bothered me. And then I felt used, or like I fell for the bait.
Dude.
The monthly meta deposit in my PayPal account or whatever. And it's not much. I mean, it's just a little something. Yeah. But I'm thinking, like, how could I do that video instead of, like, I need to really improve on my eyes. You know, and I don't like the way it makes me think differently. And you put out a lot of content, and some of it's, with your school and stuff, it's wood carving. But you ever think of that? Or am I just kind of crazy?
Yeah. I think no, not at all. I mean, this is a conversation that I've had a whole lot, and like this is like the focus of my my hobby time. When I'm not carving, I'm thinking about this exact thing. Like I'm thinking about how do I organize my life and my actions in such a way to where I'm doing stuff that I love, and not just stuff that makes money or that is that gets a lot of views and stuff. But then at the same time, I think about the things that get a lot of views because I have to, because I make I make content now and I sell content. Right, that's like a big part of my living now, or at least a small less than half of it, but it's still a part of it now, right? And I mean, my living still comes as a carver, as a full-time carver, making carvings and selling them. But a huge part of my life now is making content for people to learn. And what I've learned from listening to other people who are in the business of media is there's this like feedback loop. Like you talk about it. It's almost like a downward spiral of, well, you make a bunch of content, you see what works. Okay, now I'm going to start. People like watching me carve feathers. Now I'm going to be the feather guy because people love that, and it gets lots of views. And before you know it, you're going crazy because all you've been carving for the past 3 years is feathers, and different feathers with a face on it, feathers in a cap. Feathers on a bird. It's like, I'm sick of feathers. You never pursued that because you liked it or it was interesting or there was something you were drawn to. You did it because people like to watch you carve a feather, and they thought they could carve a feather, and they put themselves in your shoes and said, I could do that. And it was whatever the reasons are. And so for me, it's been paying attention to myself a little bit more. And this sounds a little like Oprah-esque or something, but like I remember feeling like this past couple of weeks, my views are down like a third of what they usually are, less than a third, like bad. But it's because I've been making more content that I enjoy and connect with. Like it's a little bit less of the project-oriented thing, and it's a little bit more of like sharing my heart a little bit. Like this is what I think about this, or maybe just talking a little bit about something that I wouldn't normally talk about. And I've had so many, like, a lot less, but a good amount of meaningful connections with people through those videos. And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, I'm making so much less, so many less views and ultimately less money from these videos. But when I look at the comments, I'm fine with that being in the mix. Like I'm actually happy that's in the mix, and then I feel proud of myself. Like in that moment, like this past couple of weeks has been a moment of me being like, no, if I'm going to become successful at anything, it's going to be at the things that I like, that I'm passionate about, right? And that is, a lot of things. But it's carving, human realistic forms. It's carving nature. It's teaching people who are like hungry and excited to learn. It's learning from people who are excited to teach. Those are the things that I care a lot about, and I love creating media, and I love the aspect of video, like the film. I love I'm learning about camera settings, and I'm learning about media, and I'm learning about promotion, and those are all elements of my life that I truly enjoy. And I truly enjoy that, and the presentation element, and you understand the element of public speaking and communication, and paying attention to like how you organize your thoughts and communicate. And all of those things are fascinating, but the point is I'm pursuing that stuff because it's in my heart. Like I feel like I was like made to do that sort of thing. And so I think occasionally it just means like what is it that I want to make today, and then who do I want to talk to? Like what's on my heart? Like what am I learning about? What do I want to express? And then it's just sort of like putting up with the fact that it's not going to get as many views, But I'm still on the same journey. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in doing the same stuff when it starts to work. It's almost like scarier if it starts to work than it is if it doesn't work, because there's this pressure on you if it works. So you just got to do what you love and have fun. Like, that's what this is. Like, I'm talking to you because you're my friend, and I always enjoy when we talk. And there's really, nothing else there. It's just to have fun, to have a conversation, to help people out. Maybe they get something from it.
So the content that I've done on Reels recently have been really focused at wood carvers. But we know in the audience, that slims down, the market. If it only appeals to wood carvers. But I'm with you. I'm just like, but that's what I want to do. I want to connect with carvers. And not everybody in social media or the Instagram world to get a whole gob of likes and views, and I don't know. I had one a year ago. I had one go viral, and I think that's when it ruined me. Like it went viral, 6 million views, like insane.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, and then it's taken like a year to be like, wait a minute, I've been duped. I'm not thinking about what I love. I'm thinking about content. So like you said, marry the two. You do what you love. You do it for content. You get the views. You don't get the views. With me, though, it's not a full-time. I'm not a full-time artist. So that pressure's not there, but it messes with you.
But then you just almost like, if you just keep creating what you want to do, and you listen to people and you let that influence to some extent, but you're mostly there just to pursue the things that you love. I truly believe that people will eventually see that. I don't know, I haven't had a 6 million view viral carving video, so you have that, you have something, you can speak to that. I can't, but what I can say
for sure is
it was a freak
anomaly. After that, it was like 300 views. I don't know.
What was the video?
I was carving a little spoon.
Really? Wow. So that really connects.
But I think it went to an algorithm that I had no intention. That might have been adult themed. That makes any sense?
No way.
I had to delete a lot of comments. But I don't think like that. So but
no, of course.
But there were a lot of artists and stuff. I guess I just didn't like it, and I was talking to one of my kids about it, like at Christmas. Like, I'm not thinking of finishing a piece or doing something new as much as I was thinking about content, and I was kind of ashamed about that. But yet, it was a good, it was a good realization to be like, wait a minute, I didn't relax and enjoy and have peace creating videos. I relaxed and enjoyed it out here when I was carving wood. So getting back to the reason I'm out here.
Yeah, that's what clay is for me too. Is like when I think about it, I treat it like wood carving because I let it mostly dry. Like I get the forms. Like I'm looking at some clay piles right now, and I let it dry once I get the form in, and then I carve it away. And I don't feel like I have to film it because it's not wood carving. You know, it's something else that I get to do for me.
Nice.
So I think maybe just finding something like that has been good, and I try to use the videos as like accountability. You know, like I'm going to make something, and I'm going to use the audience as a means of holding me accountable. And that helps too, because then I actually have to make stuff that I'm proud of and want to show people. So I think it's good. It can be a really positive feedback loop, a good positive feedback loop if you do it the right way.
Process, when I started like video before the piece is done in the process, and I got messages. We love the process. You didn't finish it. You showed us the raw way that it's done, and then that got in my head, then I wouldn't even finish things. But now I'm like, I gotta finish stuff before I video it or whatever. Like you say, the accountability.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like, I guess part of me though, maybe if I'm being honest, I enjoy the element of interacting with people. Like I like the connection of carving to people, and that's what the social media end of it is like sharing it. It's like you make it and then you ship it. And the shipping part's fun too, because then other people get to make of it.
It's great to connect with other carvers. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I haven't figured out the solution for sure yet, but I just have noticed that I'm just enjoying myself more lately when I'm like, oh, my views are down to a quarter of what they usually are. I don't care. You don't control me. Yep. Like I'm gonna keep making the videos I like. And then people that want to join will join. If they don't, then that must be because they don't like it, and that's fine. I don't want those people to be here anyway, right?
Yeah, good.
So
keep carving.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So, what do you find that carving, offers you anything now that maybe it didn't offer you when you started, or is it this, what is that like? We talk about the sharing part of it. Like you have this huge following on social media.
Yeah, of course. Starting out,
so you've been able to influence.
That. I gave like rough faces to family members. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that was good." Now I think they think, "Oh no, I'm going to get another carving for Christmas." But what gets me now, I guess, is even with men. Because I don't hunt and fish, I don't golf. I've not been into that. It does open some doors with some people, and even in a couple of the art stores in this area, I have a few pieces, and people may have contacted me, and I've gotten to meet people I would have not normally ever met had I not been carving this long.
Yeah,
and I think that's always neat. Meet other artists, see what they're from, how they got into it, hear their story. It's pretty cool. I like that part about carving. There's quite a nice community that I would have I didn't know existed. I had no idea.
It's true. It's neat that it's small. It's neat because
when I just started carving, people, Marty was going to that big show down in Ohio, the International Carvers Conference or something. I think they moved it. Where was that at? Down south of Cleveland.
I don't know.
It's a giant show, one of the biggest in the nation. Artists, wood art,
Dayton,
artistry and wood.
Yep, artistry and wood.
And I remember he told me it was like, there'll Dayton, be like 100 carvers there. I'm like, what? He's like, they rent out a whole expo center, thousands of people come. I'm like, shut up! Like I didn't know that world existed. That people would have carving shows and lessons and books and videos. I've enjoyed all of that. The journey of it's been fun.
They tried to get me to run that event when it was ending. I remember I remember when it was ending, it was their last year, someone came up to me and they said, we don't know, the show is ending. We don't really know what's going to happen with it. If you have any interest in taking it on, we would, that's all we need is young blood, people to be involved in Detroit Orchestrated. And we need people like you to tie it together. I'm just like, I'm sorry.
That would be months of work to pull that off.
Yeah. This is just so beyond me. This is not even something I'm interested in.
But I think that's neat.
Yeah. But it was probably the best carving, like you said, it was the coolest carving show I've ever been to. I mean, there was Fred Codulo. You got to meet so many great carvers. Rick Harney.
I went one year. We did this thing down in West Virginia, and then I drove up there. I remember my wife, I had like strep throat. She was in the motel, and I went over to the wood carving show and meeting guys that literally I have their books in my shop, and it was like. It was better than going to Hollywood, man. I couldn't believe it. This is really neat.
Yep. No, I feel the same way. I think I do that with carvers, too. I think of them as, like, especially when I was a kid and I would look up to these guys and then getting to meet some of them, it's just like, I'm just giddy the whole week, like afterwards, just thinking about the fact that it's like, oh, I got to meet Jeff Ferris, or I got, it's like, wood carving name dropping is almost not name dropping, is it? It's a little different, but so I feel not as bad. But it is name dropping now. So here we are, shamelessly. But yeah, it was just so cool. Jeff Ferris bar. I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I met him through a friend, Abby Peterson, actually through Todd German, another friend of mine, and I was down south at one of our mutual friends' house, and I was teaching a class, and I was leaving, and it was cold down in Kentucky where we were, and Jeff was saying he had a class to teach the next week on realistic faces, and one of my absolute favorite stories is Jeff was there during my class, and each day. Abby, who owned the home, owned the studio, was putting on the event, would get a call from somebody saying, hey, I really can't make it to the event. I'm so sorry. He'd have it on speakerphone, because he keeps it on speakerphone. You just hear the guy saying, I have to back out. I'm so sorry I can't make it to the show or to the class. And Jeff was bleeding students 2-3 a day. I mean, he had a full packed class and he was losing students. Huh. And at one point, it was like 2 days before, Jeff is like, man, and what a good spirited dude. I mean, he was just like, man, I don't know what it is, but I'm down to 3. I'd be like, screw this, dude, I'm going home. He was just like, I'm down to 3 students. I'll be dipped, It's just the weirdest thing. And so Abby, about, 2 hours later, come here, takes me into his office, shuts the door, and he starts laughing, his hands over his mouth, and he's like, dude, I've been telling my buddies to call me. To tell me that they can't make it to the class, so that Abby, or so that he thinks that Jeff thinks that the class is completely over with.
Oh man!
And so he's like, tomorrow I'm going to bring it down to 1 student and see what's happening. And the next day I left, Jeff texted me. He's like, man, I just can't believe it. I'm down to 1 student. And he was like, I've never had this happen before. Oh, it's one of my favorite moments. But I lent him a pair of coveralls, and I went back to Abby's a couple years later to get to carve, and I was, am my overalls still here? And he's like, yeah, actually, I think he left you. Jeff left something in the overalls and the coveralls, and I put them on, and then I reached in my pockets and I pulled out 2 packs of candy cigarettes and a $5 bill. And he forgot his notepad in the other pocket, and it just had all these, like, he has beautiful handwriting. Jeff Ferris has wonderful, perfect handwriting. And he outlines his classes before he does them. He's an organized, he organized his class as well. So
that's cool.
Anyway, that was cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's what wood carving is, just meeting so many people you'd never have met. I'd never met you,
Yeah.
Getting to talk to them. And
right.
I haven't talked to any wood carver that I didn't find helpful and excited, even when I was carving boots. You know, they were excited that I started the journey. You know?
Right.
Always encouraging.
Yeah. You talked about going through a dry spell, and when we brought up things to talk about on the podcast, and I think it's important to talk about because I've been there before. I felt like I didn't really have any carving left in me. So what does that look like for you? You know, because some people might be experiencing that, like at home, like they just don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
Well, it was about a 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 weeks. You know, we were going into Christmas, and I had all these goals. Didn't make any of them hardly. Didn't feel like carving. I'd come out in the shop and clean up and look at stuff or move stuff around, and it just wasn't happening. And I can be honest, I got a little scared to be like, I love carving so much, but I don't feel like I love it right now. I hope it didn't leave me. You know, the desire to carve, like I don't want that not to be a part of my life. I got a little panicky. One night I was laying in bed being like, what if I don't feel like carving ever again? And then I'm like, no, it'll hit me. You just got to do it. So for me, it was a little scary to just be in a funk where the desire wasn't, man, I wish I could get out there and carve, but I don't have time. The desire was, I got some time tonight. I could go out and carve. Nah. I didn't like that at all. Yeah, not at all.
How did you come out of it?
I feel like I was on Instagram one night, and I was looking at some of your stuff. I was looking at Brian Melton. I was looking at Lucas. And I'm like, these guys are all improving, and I'm not. And then I couldn't wait. I knew the next night I had nothing going on. I couldn't wait to get back out here. I don't know. It just kind of revived me, like...
Yeah. The community.
I don't know.
That's what it's all about.
Encouragement through the social media.
Yeah.
I just like these guys are improving.
That's cool.
I enjoy it. I like it, and then it was there.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, that's what keeps us going is seeing what other people are doing and getting excited about stuff and trying to do that for other people, and that's cool. It's awesome. Yeah. Man. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you being willing to chat about a wide range of topics. Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed hanging out. I feel like I had a little. Yeah, we haven't
chatted for a while, so it's good.
Little wood carving heart to heart. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to talk about? Anything to plug?
No, I don't think so. I just
your Instagram handle?
Nate Wood Sculpting. Yeah.
Nate Wood Sculpting.
Nate Wood Sculpting.
Check him out, folks. Buy carving.
Yeah. I think I got any. Oh, I did put up a new website my daughter made for me.
What is that?
It's natewoodsculpting.com.
Perfect.
Which is really
That's
nice.
Easy to remember.
She did a great job.
You also have a blog on there too, so people can read your musings.
Yeah,
right?
I need to muse more.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I liked that. I copied you. I started making my own blog, and that was super nice to do. It takes a long time, but I like it.
I like it when I can do it. It's good. Even a paragraph is always nice. Yeah.
True. Yeah. I think I always think in my head it's got to be like a whole 4 paragraphs or a couple pages, but yeah, it's true. Yeah. Better than nothing.
I started carving this, and I got hungry, and so I went in the house at Nate. Thanks for reading.
Yeah.
You know. I think people enjoy it. Short and hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's funny, and that's what people want. They just want a little behind the scenes.
Yeah. It's good.
That's so much better. And the reason that's so funny and refreshing is that's so much better than just being like, well, I wanted to create a piece that expresses the inner dialogue of man. On one side, the tendency for consumption, and the other, the desire for creation. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
I can't talk like that very well anyhow.
Yeah, obviously me either.
It's interesting. Yeah, thanks for all you do for the carving community and all the encouragement you are to all us carvers, man. Yep.
Yeah, thanks,
you guys are great. You and Doug, I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Very good. Thanks for joining.
You too. Take care.
Take your vitamins, folks.
That was good.